One day, Flag 098, Banner, and Beniniton was hanging out at Banner's house. But when Beniniton looked outside, he saw the British. He told them that the British were there. They went to see what they were doing and found a British officer. The British officer recognized Flag 098 and said, "You are in a lot of trouble." "Why?" asked Flag 098. "Because you have been stealing things from my country," said the British officer. "I am going to have to take you back to England with me for punishment." Beniniton started yelling, "No! No!" But it was too late. The officer grabbed him by his arm. Flag 098 tried to escape, but the officer caught up with him and took him prisoner. Then the British soldiers tied Flag 098's hands behind his back and put him into a small boat. After that, the other British soldiers stood on either side of the little boat as if to make sure he didn't try anything funny. Then they rowed out into the middle of the ocean. After several hours, they reached an island where the British had built their own house. When Flag 098 arrived there, all the British soldiers helped him climb off the boat. He then walked up to the door of the house and knocked on it 3 times, which was the sign of the number 3 in England. The door opened and a man wearing a uniform came walking out. This man was the head of the English army in the area. The man asked Flag 098 why he was here. "My name is Flag 098, said Flag 098, "and I'm from the country called America. I wanted to ask you if your country could be my new home. My father and mother were both killed by some of your soldiers while we were fighting a war against each other. Since they died, my brothers and sisters have become orphans." "Well," said the head of the English army, "we don't usually let foreigners come to our land unless they're invited or they've done something bad to us first. But since you haven't done anything wrong, then I guess you can stay here for now." So Flag 098 stayed with the English and learned how to speak like them. He also helped the British fight against the French and Spanish because he used to be one of those countries' enemies. After several years, a new king was crowned in England. The new king was named William, who was very strong. He made many changes in England, including putting down the slaves and making this country a free country again. Because of these things, people began to look up to the king more than before. The next year, the king decided to go to war with the Dutch. So, the British army left England and went to Holland to help the king win the war. While the British army was gone, Flag 098 decided to return to America. But when he got there, he realized that his homeland had changed a lot. His friends weren't around anymore, and neither were any of his family members. He couldn't even find his old house. He started crying and wondering what happened to them. Then he heard someone calling his name. It was a boy named Johnny who lived nearby. Johnny said to Flag 098, "Come over here for a second." When Flag 098 got close enough to hear, he said, "What did you say?" "I said, 'Come over here for a second,'" answered Johnny. "Oh, okay. Are you Flag 098? said Johnny. "Yeah?" said Flag 098. "I'm a huge fan of your scratch games. Can you give me an autograph?" said Johnny, excited. "Sure, I'll sign it right away," said Flag 098. Then Flag 098 went inside his house and wrote his signature on the piece of paper Johnny gave him. After that, Johnny ran off to show his parents the autographed picture of Flag 098. Later, his mom asked him, "Where did you get that picture of Flag 098? Johnny answered, "I got it from the guy who lives near the tree." His mom looked at the picture and said, "That's not a real person. That's just a drawing of a flag." Johnny's dad then said, "That's not true. We already know that Johnny likes to draw pictures. And he really loves that game called Scratch." The next day, Johnny and his mom went to visit Flag 098. When they got there, Johnny started talking about how much he liked Scratch. Flag 098 smiled and said, "It's good to see you again." Johnny asked Flag 098, "Do you remember me?" "Of course I do," said Flag 098. "I drew a picture of you, and you signed it. Do you want to see it?" "Sure," answered Flag 098. Johnny handed him the picture. Flag 098 looked at it closely and saw that it was a drawing of himself. He said, "Wow. You're a great artist." Johnny replied, "Thanks." After that, they became best friends. After several years had passed, Flag 098 was still living in America. He was getting along really well with everyone except one thing, the English language. He never thought he would ever learn it, but he finally had to because that was the only way he could communicate with anyone else in the United States. One day, Flag 098 was walking through town when he noticed that people were talking about something on the news. He turned on the TV and saw that the English army was attacking another country. A reporter said, "During the night, the English army attacked a foreign country. They have surrounded the city and are currently holding their ground." "What? Why would they attack their own country?" asked Flag 098. Another reporter said, "We don't know yet. All we know is that the army is still there." A third reporter said, "That's right. The English army has taken over the city and is now camped out in front of the main building, ready to fight the enemy. A few hours ago, the commander of the English army ordered all the citizens to gather in the stadium to join forces with them. And so they did. Now, the only ones who aren't here are the soldiers, who are guarding the city." "What does that mean?" asked Flag 098. The fourth reporter said, "It means that the entire city is trapped inside the stadium and can't leave until the battle is over. If the English army wins, then everyone will live happily ever after. But if the other army wins, then that's the end of everything." "How could the English army attack its own country? What's going on?" said Flag 098. "Nobody knows," said the fifth reporter. "But this is definitely a big problem." The sixth reporter said, "This is a horrible situation. The English army has completely surrounded the city and doesn't seem to plan on leaving anytime soon. Let's hope that the other army wins." People were starting to panic because they didn't know what was going to happen next. Some of the people started running around yelling, trying to figure out what to do. "Don't worry," said Flag 098. "We'll figure this out together. I know we can beat the English army." All of a sudden, a loud noise was heard. Everyone stopped and listened to what it was. It sounded like someone was knocking on the door of the stadium. Everyone started to wonder who was there. Suddenly, the doors opened and a British soldier walked out. He looked around and then spotted Flag 098. "There you are," said the soldier. "I've been looking for you everywhere." "What are you doing here?" asked Flag 098. "I heard you were here, so I came to help you defeat the enemy." "You mean the English army?" "Yes, the English army," answered the soldier. "I'm surprised you're here," said Flag 098. "Aren't you supposed to be guarding the city?" "No, not exactly. I'm here to kill them." Just then, another soldier came out of the stadium and told everyone that the battle had started. "What?" yelled Flag 098. "Have they already started the battle? I thought they were going to wait until everyone was ready." "They won't wait for anyone," said the first soldier. "This is war." "What should we do?" asked Flag 098. "If the other army wins, then everyone will be safe," said the first soldier. "But if the English army wins, then it's the end of everyone's world." "We have to think fast," said Flag 098. "The other army might win, but we don't know for sure." "What should we do?" asked the second soldier. "Let's make a plan," said Flag 098. "Maybe we can find some way to save everyone." That same night, Flag 098 and the first soldier woke up and went downstairs. When they went outside, they saw that the field was covered with soldiers. There must have been at least 2,000 of them, all waiting for the battle to begin. "Who are those people?" asked Flag 098. "Those are the guys who are going to win," said the first soldier. "They're the best warriors in the world. But if we lose, then we'll all die." "But why do they need so many people to fight the battle?" asked Flag 098. "Wouldn't a smaller army have better chances of winning?" "I don't know," answered the first soldier. "But that's what they're planning on doing." As the sun rose, the English army started marching toward the stadium. They were carrying weapons and shields. Their faces were full of sweat and anger. "Why are they so mad?" asked Flag 098. "Didn't they get their way?" "It doesn't matter if they got their way or not. They're still going to win," said the first soldier. "I'm sorry, but I don't think anyone else can stop them." "Not even you?" asked Flag 098. "Me? No. I can't beat them alone." Flag 098 and the first soldier watched as the army marched across the field. Suddenly, the other army started to appear. "Look over there!" shouted Flag 098. "It looks like they've come to help us." "What? Are you kidding?" said the first soldier. "We don't have time for this. We have to finish our job and beat them all." As soon as the armies got closer, they started fighting. Arrows flew from both sides as swords hit each other. In the middle of the battlefield, Flag 098 and the first soldier stood behind a giant stone statue that was protecting the city. "I hope this works," said the first soldier. "Otherwise, the entire city will be destroyed." "We've got to win!" yelled Flag 098. At that moment, a rock was thrown at the English army. It hit one of the soldiers in the forehead and killed him instantly. "See?" said Flag 098. The rest of the army then turned around and started to run away. "Now it's our turn. Go get them." The two soldiers ran after the other army. As they neared the field, they saw a huge hole that had been dug in the middle of the stadium. The ground was shaking and moving very slowly. Then, they saw smoke coming out of the hole. "What is that?" asked Flag 098. "That's probably the English army," said the first soldier. "We have to hurry before it destroys us all." That's when Flag 098 saw his friends, Bananaton and Banner, fighting for their army. "Banana! Banana!" yelled Flag 098. Bananaton was about to fall down when Flag 098 and Banner jumped into the hole and grabbed him. "Help!" screamed Flag 098 and Banner. "Please, please." "I'm here," answered Banana. "Thank goodness." "What are you two doing here?" asked Flag 098. "We followed you here," said Bananaton. "We knew that our country needed us," Banner continued. "I knew you all would come back," said Flag 098. "And now we can finally defeat the enemy." They pulled themselves out of the hole and saw the battle was over. "We did it," said Flag 098. "The battle is finished, and everyone's safe." They quickly ran back to the stadium. When they got there, they saw that the entire city had disappeared. "Where did everyone go?" asked Flag 098. The first soldier looked at him and said, "I don't know." But stammered Flag 098. Then, they saw a man standing in front of them. He had brown hair and eyes. His face looked really familiar. "That's the guy I drew on your picture," said Flag 098. "It's you, isn't it?" "It is me," answered the man. "My name is Johnny." "I've been waiting for you," said Flag 098.